Review Committee meeting. All right. So we sent out the RFP as a combined document on February 4th, and that required a 30-day notification period for anyone to respond. We also sent out a number of emails, blasts, the construction service, recorded services picked it up. So I personally informed about 22 different individuals with different companies about the project. And on March 8th, we had one proposal from Performance Services. So the marketplace decides how they're going to respond to an opportunity like this. So we can't have, they all are busy with a lot of things as they look at this project and make their own business decisions. We've had one company respond to it. So procedurally, there are a couple things we need to do. The first thing, as design criteria developer, I need to certify to you that what we have received from Performance Services meets the requirements of the RFP. So the document that I just passed out to you is my summary of all the requirements that they needed to comply with and my indication that they are in compliance with the minimum qualifications and what's required of the RFP. And so we as a technical review committee would need to consider whether we believe they're qualified and want to recommend to the school corporation that they go the next step with one proposer, which is to pass a resolution to continue the process when there is only one proposer. So give you a second to look over that and answer any questions you have, and then the other thing that we would need to do before you take any action on the proposal as a technical review committee is you are required as members of the technical review committee to certify that you have no conflict of interest with the proposing design builder. So I'm also going to pass out to you a certification to that effect, and I'll go over that with you. And then after we've done, kind of got that dispensed with, we can take on any discussion that we want to have. What this says is that as a member of the technical review committee for this project, you're going to certify that you have no conflict of interest between you and any design build team member submitting a proposal for the project. And according to Indiana Code Section 5-30-4-2, a conflict of interest would exist if either any of you were submitting a proposal for the project, which I don't believe any of you are, because we only have one, and none of you are that entity, and the other would be if you were subcontracted to Performance Services to provide design or construction services for the project. So if you feel comfortable that you have no conflict of interest by that definition, then if you would sign that to certify it, and then give it back to me, and I will do the same, and we'll be able to move forward.
Dan, on page 1 was what you were referring to, all the passes?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, and then what you have as you go past that, Dick, is on the left-hand side of this for the next 100 pages are the questions that they, remember we had the
Yes.
questionnaire, how they responded to each of those questions, or whether they responded appropriately. So I went through the entire document and confirmed that they have things like the appropriate amount of insurance, the bonding capacity, that they shared their history, they disclosed the any financial issues of bankruptcy or anything like that, OSHA violations, there's a lot of different kinds of things in here, and so that's their assertions, affirmations, all of those kinds of things that they're in compliance. So you have the summary of the pass-fail criteria on the first page, and then there's more detail about that as you go through the rest of it. So my recommendation would be that we would find Performance Services qualified to provide the design build work required for this project. Not spoken with anyone who did not, that I let know about the project and didn't submit anything. I frankly haven't had time.
Gotcha.
But I have talked to a couple who declined to pursue the project, and they let me know why. University, it was that their plates were full and they didn't have the capacity to take on this project, or it wasn't in their wheelhouse, or those kinds of things. They were their own business decisions as to why they did it. So.
Gotcha. So in spite of reaching out or letting people, over 20 people know.
Yes.
No one else sees
Yeah.
the
And I tried, every general contractor and architect and engineer that I could find in LaPorte County, I sent something to. So, I tried to get everyone here in the area, and then others that I knew would do this kind of project and that kind of stuff. And we had a couple who had expressed interest and asked, and we sent it to them in response to the question. Then when they reviewed it, they said, "Yeah, I think it's okay."
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. We had a few people that seemed like they were going to have interest.
I honestly thought we were going to have more, because from the indications, but they make their own business.
Yeah.
So take your time to look at anything, any questions anybody has, I'd like to answer them. When you're ready, we probably ought to have a motion and a vote to ready to call.
Does the committee oversee the picking up the subcontractors too?
Well, the way that progressive design build works, you'll have an opportunity with Performance Services if you choose to move forward to have all of that in part of the conversation. So yeah, it wouldn't necessarily be the technical review committee, because the only role of the technical review committee is to select, is to score these qualitative proposals, shortlist if we had more than 3 submittals that people submitted, and then make a recommendation to the board. But however the board chooses to administer the project moving forward, you could be invited to be involved in that role or whatever. That's a board decision.
Yeah, that part was really interesting too. You start scoring somebody against somebody.
And we're not going to score one team against,
Right.
one against one, so we don't need to do that part of it, but I was just happened to be in a meeting this afternoon where we did just that for Wabash, for Warsaw project that they're doing. So it's a fun process when you get to do it. And you know all the people that are proposing the project.
You asked to do a motion to certify that they are qualified for the.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. So, there's been a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so we will, as a technical review committee, decide that they are qualified. The next step in the process, because there is only one proposal, would be that the board would consider a resolution. And this is a draft of something that still would need to get filled in because we don't have the price proposals open for that. Pass those out of a resolution that we would be presenting to the board. We've got that one hand and that's Kelly. And basically, the first page of this resolution states that the school corporation decided to do a design-build project, appointed a technical review committee and a design criteria developer, published a legal notice, allowed the 30 days to pass, and received proposals after 30 days, and that there was one proposal that the technical review committee met on March 11th and deemed that company as qualified, and therefore we believe that it's in the best interest of the school corporation to continue to use the design-build process. And then you get to what the resolution is, that they would, in section 1 on the next page, authorize the continued use of progressive design-build for the project, and that they would authorize the school corporation to execute a notice to proceed for phase 1 progressive design-build services for a fixed fee that will be in an envelope that will open in a minute, subject to final negotiations of terms and conditions of the contract. So when we open the price proposals after our meeting is finished, what that will give us is two numbers. One is an affirmation or an assertion of whether or not they can complete the project within the budget that's been set forth for the project, and then what it would take to pay them for the phase 1 services that would become part of that total contract sum, where they would then work with the school corporation to verify what the final design and the final price of the project is, bring that to the board in a report, and then if that's all acceptable to the board, you'd move forward with the project at that point. If the thing falls off its wheels and it's not acceptable, then the school corporation would have paid for that phase 1 study, would own that design, but would not be required to move forward with the full services. So that's kind of what the three parts of this resolution said. This is not something for us to take action on, other than to affirm that we ought to recommend that the board consider this resolution. The board is whether they want to pass it or not. Everyone kind of, I don't think we need a lot of require us to vote on this one. It's probably a good idea just to get a nodding of heads affirmation, everyone in agreement that the board ought to be considered.
How many copies you need? You want everybody to sign their?
No, nobody has to sign a thing.
Okay.
This is just giving.
The same layout.
This is board action, this
Okay.
is just a format, it'll get filled in with numbers.
Yep.
And because we don't have to choose between different teams or interview teams or anything like that, we are finished with the technical review committee meeting in 14 minutes and 58 seconds. So unless there's anything else anybody else wants to talk about. But you can keep them if you like. I'm going to be changing it to the recommendation that we give the board to put into the ordinance. That's what we have for you all to do this evening. Any questions, any thoughts, anything that anybody has on the process?
As far as anything in relation to the impacts of COVID, basically,
Right.
their employers, anything.
There's issues of COVID, there's issues of material supply of all different kinds of things.
Material's getting bad.
Yeah, and so part of what happens in phase one is they will put together a schedule to do the whole project. In here, they gave us a schedule, what they would do to get through phase one. And so part of what they would be beholding to if the board were to decide to move ahead with them is to complete phase one according to that schedule. But one of the work products of phase one is an overall project schedule. So it's a little bit difficult for them to say exactly how long it's going to take to build something they haven't really finished the design on yet. So that's why they work all of that together. So there'll be give and take, and there were some things done with studies and different things on different options that have happened thus far with performance services. So they're pretty far down the process and can probably move it along pretty quickly, but that has to happen between the school corporation and performance services. So. Okay. And then price proposals. So we are adjourned as a technical review committee, but I'll assist the school corporation in opening and reading the price proposal. If I can get the young one. So, for the price proposal, we asked them to affirm whether they can complete the project within the stated budget of $2,484,000, which is a portion of the $2.7 million that has been authorized by the school corporation, and they have affirmed that they can do that, and they have quoted $148,000 as the fee to provide the phase one services. So what will come to the board as a recommendation then is a project not to exceed $2.7 billion total number, because as they find out how much of the soft costs they really have to spend, this 2.4 could go up or down as they work within that, but stay within that overall budget, and that they would be paid $148,000 for that phase one work.
Now, with lumber supplies and so forth, that has gone crazy since we started this.
Yeah.
Ever seen where, we didn't have it at that point?
I have never had, we've been doing this progressive design build. I've been doing design build projects since 2006. It's been over $1 billion, and have not had a project that didn't completely get done. We've been doing this progressive design build model where we're kind of awarding a project more based on the qualifications of the firm and allowing them to work with the owner to bring the process forward. And we've done about $300 million worth of work on close to 20 projects since 2017, and we've never had a project that didn't move forward. And some of them, an owner has maybe had the capacity to do a little more, and as they work through the project, they want to do a little more, and some of them want to do a little less. But that's the beauty of this is the owner and the design builder talk together about what things cost and make decisions about where and how to spend the money to get the best return on the investment for the kids and for the taxpayers of the community. It's just when everybody works together from all the way through the process, you can get a better result. That's what we're trying to do here, is just get that collaboration from the first day forward. You know, the school has completed a couple of successful projects.
RSPs came out with.
Steel has increased in price, 40% in the last year. So there's a lot of things that impact costs, but it might affect which materials you choose to use. Those kind of things can happen. I've seen some projects that I've seen one that changed from a steel structure to a concrete structure because they felt they could deliver more readily in this market.
When the school board will have the opportunity to review the specified contractor, the list of materials.
So when the phase one report is completed, it will have all of that kind of information about the scope of the project, who's going to be involved, what the materials are, all those kinds of things will be in that report. In the RFP, there were some starting points. So there was a narrative that as you look at that said, here's the things that we think set the quality standard that we need to have, so that they could say, we believe that for $2.484 million, we can hit that quality standard in that program. So they've had that kind of information to do this. So it's not just a pie in the sky, oh, we'll agree with you to get a project kind of number. It's something with a firm that they can do. And now they're going to break it down and get it into detail. Everybody on the school side to figure out where and how to spend money. You will see things like trade-offs of this has a lower first cost, but this has a lower life cycle cost. Should we spend the money up front to save money in the long run? Some systems you may say, yes, that's very important, and others you might say, in the overall scheme of the project, maybe not as important, to save some money.
Knowing you may be getting 12 years instead of 24.
Yeah.
Whatever the situation
Yeah,
is.
or I mean, there've been things like, I did a project a couple weeks ago, where we were having a long discussion about color coding all of the piping, because for maintenance purposes, it made a lot more sense to be able to go in and see what everything was, but that costs money. And so what we ended up doing instead was putting tags on the pipe every time it went through a wall or someplace. So it's still easy to track the pipe, but it wasn't, it wasn't all color coded.
Direction.
And they ended pop money for color coded conduit. So the conduit did end up color coded, but not all of the well piping. There's all kinds of decisions like county on the project.
It's the one phase two that can help the cost of the NIPSCO. Energy provider in the area here announced about 2 weeks ago, there's $11 million of grants for incentives for energy efficiency.
Yeah, and if you read you just got their RFP proposal today, but they actually did specifically say that one of the things they'll be doing is working to look for any rebate energy savings program, anything that's available. So anything that can help the project in that way, they'll work with the owner to make sure that if we can take advantage of it, it's all the project.
Logan Mosher was on Lake Shore Barn, John.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See him from the last kids on the house. He is a hard worker. That's pretty good.
The one thing, it's like, presumably, like, stuff with deals, it's like, oh my goodness. And it's been. And they, kids don't stop. that would qualify. Well, any, I don't get any OSB or anything that is sheet related. I mean, Van Tech is what, $600 now for a 3-quarter sheet company. You avoid that stuff. So I don't, we make shift that part. We've got the drywall in the back, so the doors and stuff like that. And we got 2x4s. And they were two.
So maybe 250. That gives you an idea even tomorrow.
I can believe it. Where's your main supply?
Yeah. Looking forward to get away for a little bit.
Good to see you.
Looking good, well.
Yeah, doing good. How about you?
And I'll,
I don't know that.